Hello, and welcome to SciShow. I just said it wrong. The last time.
Come on, man.
I gooped it. It's a slightly competitive science knowledge. I said competitive.
You said competitive.
It's a good thing it's over.
This guy's never podcasted before in his life.
I don't know how to do it. Honestly, it's an intensely competitive science knowledge showcase. And joining this week, as always, is our science expert, Sari Riley.
Hello.
And Forbes 30 under 30 education luminary. I can't leave that off.
Yeah, this is the last time I'll ever hear it in my life. Everyone else will have forgotten about it.
It's not even true anymore, but
Once a 30 under 30, you're always a 30 under 30.
I get to cling to that for the rest of my life, Sam. I've peaked now.
And also our resident everyman and SciShow Tangents 40 under 40. Just really cool guy luminary. It's Sam Schultz.
What's up?
And joining us this week, back from the dead. It's back. It's our OG Tangents host and current super awesome SciShow host, Stefan Chin.
50 under 50. Let's go.
I'm going to come over there and rough you up,
I'm
Hank.
not that old yet.
Yeah. Are you getting to 40, Stefan?
Almost.
Yeah.
Soon.
We're not that far apart. I'll tell you. Here's what I'll tell you, Stefan. Get ready for, and you already have this, but get ready for your eyes to get even worse.
Oh, yeah. Eyes worse
so bad.
and just random my shoulder. What happened? I don't know.
Well, if you keep on using all those weights that back behind your kitchen table,
Yeah,
there,
That's
you'll
how
be
you
okay.
protect.
Stefan Strong
right.
now.
Stefan Strong.
Wow.
I'm going to go get my protein shake.
You guys have a question for you for this, our final episode of SciShow Tangents. Tell me about the last time that you experienced some intense or even mild nostalgia. I will tell you mine while you think about yours. I was driving down the street the other day, and I drove past my professor's house from when I was in grad school. He was one of the guys who ran my department. His house was super cool, and I house sat at it once. And when I drove past this house and I looked at it, and I had this because I've only been in that house one time, and I was in it for a week, during which time Catherine and I took care of some cats, and I just sort of sat around and read science fiction books from his bookshelf and punched his punching bag that he had in the garage. So instantly transported me back to that moment in my life. And it was a really good feeling because that was a good moment in my life. But also I could tell that his life was a big, hard mess because he was, taking over some responsibilities from somebody who had retired and he had to do his normal course load. And he was and he had a kid who was, 10 years old. And it was just a lot. He was dealing with a lot of stuff. He'd just gotten 2 kittens.
Oh.
And I think it was just messy. And I was in the simplest time of my life where I'm all I have to do is write papers and hang out with my new friends in Missoula, Montana. And now I'm in his messy spot where my life's complicated and I have a kid and there's always surprise responsibilities I suddenly have to take care of. And he is traveling all over the world, hiking, and his child is out of the house. And he's I'll see him sometimes and be how you doing, buddy? And he's oh, so good. And it just made me feel I'm in a life that has us waves, and I'm at this part of the wave, and he was at that part of the wave, and I was at a different part, and we're all just waving and chilling out. And I remembering what what it felt like to be that person was I think weirdly nice and productive.
Do any weird kids come over and punch your punching bag or whatever you were doing?
Kinda. I've got people are over at the house taking care of Oren. Babysitters, and they don't punch a punching bag because I don't have one of those. But I assume that they. Yeah, what do I have? Play with my marble tracks. Do a puzzle, maybe. Play some of my board games.
That could be fun. Yeah. Well, today my wife's shirt smelled like a fruit roll-up. And that was that made me think about
right back.
That made me think about being at lunch. Yeah, I went to West Elementary. We were the buffaloes or the bison or something like that, and there was a bison head in my lunchroom, big one. So I thought about all that stuff. That pizza, the stinky pizza, you know, a stinky
I
pizza.
rectangular
I want that
pizza?
rectangle pizza
Yeah,
so
the
bad.
rectangle pizza. Then when you were feeling fancy, you'd spend a couple bucks on a slice of like Domino's pizza at the little window.
Sometimes, yeah.
So that was pretty good. Those were, those were fine times for me, I suppose. I always had the best snacks in my lunchbox. I don't know why. My mom liked to give me gummies.
Gummies mean something different to me now.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Adults have taken gummies.
It's true.
Robbed them from children. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I still buy the fruit
Stefan,
snacks from
too.
Costco. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stefan's too innocent.
Hank's story made me think of when every time I go back to California to visit my parents, and I'm like, I'm just right back there. I'm just sitting around playing video games. What's for dinner, Mom?
Watching Star Trek Voyager.
I feel like I've had nostalgia and lots of reflection because I'm in the same place that I was before.
Yeah.
Where I've like sandwiched complexly with being a student and in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and then leaving as far away as I could find, which was Montana, and swearing that I would never, ever, ever come back because I had such a bad time and I was so tired and exhausted. But then Sylvia wanted to become a librarian, so I came back. And it has been bizarre to be back in the same city that I thought I would never live in again. And I go through waves of like, am I just stuck here? Am I cursed?
Oh no.
Am I like, have I grown at all? And then going like, I've done a lot with my life since then.
Do you walk by the old places and go, oh my God, that's that place where that thing happened?
Yeah, I do. And I go, man, that was my dorm room. I remember that. I remember those dining halls. I remember these classrooms. But I remember them in like echoes rather than just like important detail of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird to go on campus here because I went to school here for a while and just be like, I used to sit in there and was so miserable. I had to do math problems. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's like I cried here, I shat there, and like that was college.
This is where I cry shat right there.
Yeah.
That palm tree. There's a certain amount of like college that can sometimes result in a cry shoot. Cry shoot? Cry shoot.
Hank, are you okay?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I have miles to go before I rest as well. This is not the last thing I have to do today.
Oh no.
Every week here, well, let's be honest with ourselves. For the last 8 years, every week or so here on Tangents, we have gotten together to try to one-up amaze and delight each other with science facts while also trying to stay on topic. Our panelists, for the final time, are playing for glory, and maybe not. Who knows? We may come back and surprise you with Project for Awesome episodes or something. Playing for glory and Hank Bucks, which I will be awarding as we play. And at the end of the episode, we'll have a winner. And the one who wins this episode wins the whole show.
Yeah, maybe. We've been doing this for 8 years.
8 years.
Oh my God.
That's the age of my child. The day has arrived. This is our final episode of SciShow Tangents. We have, of course, deeply enjoyed exploring surprising science, amateur poetry, butts, lightly competitive games, butts, the messy process of learning, and of course, also butts. SciShow Tangents has brought a lot of joy to us. I hope that it has brought a lot of joy to you. It would not be the special project that it is without you, our wonderful Tangents community. So, without further ado, we are going to introduce this week's topic with our last traditional science poem. This week, from all of us. That's fine.
It's all right.
Tangents is gone.
Oh, tuna!
Tangents is gone. It won't continue on. Tangents is gone. It won't continue on. Tangents is gone. It won't continue on.
I heard Tangents was over. That's not cool.
That's not cool.
I'll miss the facts about farts, poop, and drool.
And facts not about drool.
When a podcast ends, we don't have a script.
Don't have a script.
Let's go out with science and maybe some quips.
Yeah, we'll have quips.
You know I've had a lot of fun goofing with these three, but now we're done, so say goodbye with me.
Tangents is gone, it won't continue on, but the science catch out with the free sign on the lawn. Rocks in space and bees, we've learned about all of these. The science may go on, but tangents won't because it's gone.
Tangents is gone, it won't continue on. Tangents is gone, it won't continue on.
Hey there, do you remember when I went on and on?
Went on and on.
I wrote down too many facts and I just couldn't stop.
Just couldn't
Cool
stop.
rhyme.
But I like looking back at all the laughs we shared,
Laughs we shared.
and also all the facts about derrieres.
About derrieres.
Now this may be the last time we are in your feed, so let me just remind you that a banana's an ovary.
Did you know corals synchronize their spawn? And did you know even dogs can catch a yawn? These years have been a dream, and we won't take down the theme.
Mantis shrimp can punch through prawns, and some crabs have sea anemone pom-poms.
You made yours too hard, Hank. It's gonna be hard.
Tangents is gone, it won't continue on, but the science catch out with the free sign on the lawn. Glue and frogs and trees, we learned about all of these. Oh, science may go on, but tangents won't be tangents. Tangents is gone. Tangents is gone. Dogs and fish and pea, we learned about all of these. Oh, science may go on, but tangents won't because it's gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think Zencaster really is the way of the future for recording studios.
It wasn't that bad. It was all right.
The last verse was pretty. I just had to
Well,
power
you
through.
know, can I make a request as a man? Which just can I send you something afterward that is where I try harder than I just tried, and no one has to listen to me.
Your rhymes
Do a
were too
couple
hard.
takes.
Your rhymes were too hard, Hank.
I can do it.
Yeah, they
though.
were
It's-
pretty hard.
Yeah, yours took a little bit more work than Sam's did.
Yeah.
But I like them. I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay. Let me send you something tomorrow.
That would be fantastic.
It's almost like that would have been better and more enjoyable for everyone. Stefan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you miss us? It feels to me like you've never even left.
podcast wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was on the fence about whether I wanted to leave. I didn't there was in spirit, I didn't really want to leave. I just needed to leave for my own mental health, I think, at that time.
The contract
So,
negotiations broke down. You were playing
Yeah,
hardball.
sure. Yeah.
Well, we missed Stefan. There's a few things that we just lost, when Stefan left. There were certain slant rhymes that we never got again.
Yeah.
We got to hear one
a
in
fair
this
number
song,
of
though.
like dirty jokes that could have happened that
the
ended
really
up never
out of
happening.
pocket statements.
Yeah.
My
Things-
specialty.
Things that really you got to take a beat and think about. What did he mean by that?
Yeah, the other everyman perspective, I
Yeah.
think, but like a completely different one because there isn't one everyman.
It messed up a lot of our
Yeah.
games too, Stefan. So
Oh,
there was
no.
that also.
Well, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I threw a wrench in things.
I forgot to say at the end of the science poem that, of course, the topic for this episode of tangents is tangents.
Oh yeah, right.
Whoa.
Yes. And we're going to dive into that. But first, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back to define tangents. Welcome back. Sari, what is /are tangents?
Well, there are lots of meanings of the word. I feel
That's
like we
true.
should start with etymology
Yeah.
first. in this case. So in Latin, the word tangere, I believe is how you say it, means to touch.
Ooh.
And then the math nerds got their hands on that. And around 1594, I have two separate dates for this. 1583, 1594-ish. The mathematicians were studying geometry and defined tangent.
That is later than I would have expected.
Or use the word tangent to describe it, because it's possible that the mathematical concepts. So there's two mathematical concepts that are tangent, as far as I can understand. So in trigonometry, when you are calculating angles of right triangles, then you have sine, cosine, and tangent, which are describe the relationship between the sides of the triangle relative to the angles of the triangle. But then you also have a tangent line, or a point of tangency, which is like if you have a circle, like in our logo, and then lines that only point, only touch at one point in the curve.
As you can see behind me right now.
Yes, so those lines are tangent to the circle. But you can also have a tangent plane, which is basically the same thing, but you add another dimension to the space. You can have tangent circles, which are circles that are basically smooching at one point.
Sure. Can you have an internal tangent circle?
Yeah, you can have internal and external tangency in geometry. So geometry, you're using tangent to describe a very specific arrangement of shapes or things.
And who cares? And why?
It turns out it's useful. It's a big part of calculus.
Okay.
The tangents.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I fell off the math thing.
Yeah.
And then the figurative sense came a couple centuries later. The Oxford English Dictionary says 1787. And I think it's a metaphorical version of the geometrical term. So the sentence that they provide from 1787 is, if once this tangent flight of mine were over, and I were returned to my wonted leisurely motion in my old circle.
Oh, wow.
We are all in circles, and then we go off on tangents into the ether.
Flying off the side. This surprises me that a word would, like such an esoteric mathematics word, would become such a normal part of language. But I guess that happens with esoteric words.
That sentence is kind of was it kind of a math joke, or am I misunderstanding it?
Originally, it seemed quite mathy, yes.
Yeah, metaphor, nice math metaphor.
It was definitely sort of like encompassing the full metaphor of the tangent, rather than just being the meaning of the word tangent.
How else could you call that, though? The non-math version of it. There's no other word for it, is there? A diversion, I suppose?
Yeah.
Diversion, yeah.
So
other things, like
diversionary.
a deviation, but that's also a math word.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah, right.
What about like a digression?
Oh,
but
sure.
that also sounds kind of mathy.
It does sound a little bit mathy.
What's like when you're like daydreaming almost? Is there like a word for that? I don't know.
Daydreaming?
Yeah.
Is there another word?
You nailed it.
I think I got it.
SciShow sidetracked.
Yeah, I guess then the definition that wasn't in the Oxford English Dictionary, but we should really petition them for it, was in 2018 or so. A very cool podcast with four friends.
Yeah. We should get that picture, that promotional picture of the four of us with the skeleton in the background.
Yeah.
That still shows up sometimes in places. Yeah. You got to crop Stefan out of it, though.
Yeah.
We've never done
this
that.
episode, you can leave him in.
He can be like the family in Back to the Future, where
he's just kind of fading away. His hand is gone. Yeah. I like that.
So then we defined, and in the way that we define so many science words on this show, we also created a new definition of tangents, which means hanging out with your friends, but for work.
Work.
Who named it? I wonder.
I can't remember who named tangents.
Me or Caitlin or Hiroka? That's my guess on who named it. Yeah.
We were trying to think of math and science words with double meanings, I think. I remember sitting in a room and we just like...
Hell, it could have been you for all I know. You probably know that word better than any of us.
I remember Hiroka asking me what it was so that she could make the logo.
That rolls out, Hiroka.
Yeah. Sorry, Hiroka, I've eliminated you from the conversation.
Wow, you just put her on blast big time, too.
Look, ideas don't have to be owned by anybody. And then it's
collaborative.
It was definitely a collaborative process.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. I feel like I know what a tangent is, and I feel like I know what SciShow tangents is. That's for sure. Which means it's time to move on to the quiz portion of our show. Our first game is a little game called This or That. It's tangents, this or that. We cover a lot of science here, but you know what's also covered a lot of science? SciShow, regular SciShow. One of the big challenges of this lately competitive science game show is trying to make sure that we manage to cover things that you might not have learned on SciShow, which is hard because there are a lot of episodes of SciShow. So today, we're going to play a game called SciShow Already Did That. I'm going to present you the fact, and it's going to be up to you to try and remember if that's something we talked about on SciShow Tangents or SciShow, or both.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, I was like, maybe I have an advantage here, but no, actually none at all.
I know. Stefan and I have diverged where I have a gap in my knowledge of SciShow, the YouTube channel.
You're a marsupial and Stefan's a mammal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all fish, though.
That's
Really?
right. Fact number one, or thing number one, eye drops. As we get older, the lenses in our eyes thicken, which makes them harder for us to focus on objects that are closer to us, which is a struggle specifically for Hank Green. In 2021, the FDA approved an eye drop, and I have to try and read this, called pilocarpine to treat this farsightedness after researchers found that using these drops could improve people's vision for around 6 hours. Is this from SciShow or Tangents or both? I actually know the answer to this one.
Stefan, your name everywhere is Pilocarpine. What is a pilocarp?
I don't know. Apparently I think it's a genus of butterfly that is related to the name Pilocarpine, but otherwise I just made that up. So there's no real knowledge behind that.
Okay.
I mean, could it have been? It wouldn't have necessarily had to have been a fact off. It could have been anywhere in the show.
Yeah.
Do you know?
It could have been anywhere in the show.
If it was just a fact off, I'd say no. We wouldn't have covered that because that sounds kind of boring. So if it's kind of
like some SciShow boring stuff.
If it's kind of boring, then it's SciShow. I'm going SciShow.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're.
What were you going to yell at me about? Oh, I think you're stupid, Stefan, actually. Oh, I'm glad you're here. I have something to talk to you about, actually, Stefan, that you're stupid.
Are you glad I'm back? I don't think that it's the kind of thing that... It seems too boring for a SciShow thing. It's got to be a Tangents thing.
It's just boring.
It's the exact opposite reason. Yeah. I just don't think it would be in... That does not feel like the kind of thing that would be covered in a SciShow to me.
I think it's like an old SciShow news back in the day, and you were scraping the bottom of the barrel of a Eureka alert. I remember those days being like, what's new? Oh, Eyedrops. Yeah. So I also think boring and roasting SciShow, the YouTube channel.
So Sam and Sari say it's SciShow. Stefan says it's Tangents. Nobody says it's both. It is, in fact, a SciShow episode from 2022. Could Eyedrops replace your glasses?
2022?
That's a pretty good SciShow title.
I should have known
this.
I should have known that.
So presbyopia is the condition where people, as they get older, they sometimes get more farsighted. And there are a few ways to deal with this. You got glasses, you got contact lenses, you got laser eye surgery. But researchers have looked at a drug called pilocarpine that's delivered via eye drops, and that has been used to treat glaucoma. And one side effect is that it contracts the pupil, which researchers hypothesized might actually improve vision. So they tested 750 people with either the pilocarpine drops or a placebo, and they found that the drops helped improve vision for 6 hours after being used. And apparently you guys think that's boring.
Yeah, I stand by it.
It doesn't seem like it has a... I guess the twist is that you put eye drops instead of glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, something has to explode, or someone had to have been hurt somewhere along the way.
Yeah. Seems strange that you could change your vision with eye drops. Next, we've got the African crested rat. It's around 2 feet long and covered in toxin-loaded fur. In 2020, a study confirmed a theory that the toxins on the African crested rat's fur come from the bark of the poison arrow tree, which contains toxins that the rat can likely tolerate thanks to their 4-chambered stomach and gut bacteria. That's a true fact, but is it from Tangents or SciShow?
There's no way that we both didn't do that. That's free content.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yes, that was my first instinct too, is that we both did it.
Every show Complexity's ever made has probably talked about this African crested rat.
I'm almost certain that the YouTube channel, because we did a lot of toxin videos.
Yeah.
I say back in my day, we did a lot of toxin related video, but I don't know if it would have come up on Tangents. Like what? What episode would it have come up on?
I don't know, man. You've been here for every one. I'm pretty not everyone, but most of them.
How many do I remember? Very few.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild.
But I'm going to say both. I'm going to, I'll toss my hat in for both.
Well, shoot. Now I think you guys are smart.
We were smart
you got the last
time.
one right, and I was wrong last time. To be honest, I kind of think the fact is wrong. Like, how can a rat have 4 stomachs? That doesn't make any sense.
It's a big boy. They're in sequence.
Oh, boy. I'm just going to say both. There's no chance for me to get ahead on this, but...
Yeah. You should have done a little, just something, Stefan. You should have tried to make some risk because it was just tangents.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Hey,
We talked about it in our
Here's
season
an
4
episode
episode on poisons. And this rat has been quite difficult to observe, but dogs have died after attacking one of these rats, which supported a theory that the rat has poisonous fur. And biologists proposed that the rat's toxins in the fur are these this is why we have to stop doing tangents.
You've aged, so...
Cardinolides. Cardinolides.
Cardinolides? Maybe.
Which are toxic compounds that are found on this tree. The idea was that they would chew the bark from the tree and then apply their spit to the fur to make it poisonous. And in 2020, researchers were able to capture 25 of them and keep them in a temporary captivity where they observed them chewing bark and loading up their fur with spit, confirming the theory.
I cannot believe SciShow did not do that. They did. You're wrong.
All right. How about this one then, Sam? The spleen is a small organ above your stomach, and one of its main jobs is to store blood and help make new white blood cells. And when the spleen is damaged, sometimes spleen cells will land in other parts of the body and grow into smaller spleens called splenunculi.
Yes.
Is that from Tangents or SciShow or both?
I'm so sure it's from that we talked about it on Tangents. I think I remember Hank presenting it to us. I'd say both. I'm going to go with both again.
Both? Sam's a both boy.
Interesting.
I'm both boy.
The fact that I could say splenunculi makes it clear that it's definitely, I've definitely said it.
It's been in your head, coming out of your mouth before.
That I wasn't doing this.
Yeah. I know we talked about mini brains at some point.
Brainunculi.
Oh, you're doubting. You're
about.
doubting that splenunculi have been on the show.
I'm doubting that
I don't think there's a question
splenunculi have
about
been
it.
on the show because I can't say it. I guess that means Hank could have done a game about it, and I had nothing to do with it. I'm going to guess just SciShow.
You're not like notoriously good at pronouncing things, Sarah.
Wow.
That's why I'm quitting the show.
I'm airing all my beefs.
It's all coming out now.
The truth.
French.
This
How many
is the
times
time to
have
be
we messed
honest
up,
with each other.
messed up saying something in French, Sarah? Come on, like every episode, probably.
Oui, croissant.
Okay. You've been practicing.
Yeah. Now I think less of Sari and the French.
Anyways, I'm going to say tangents.
Okay, just tangents. Well, the answer is both. Sam.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I have the experience.
We actually covered this on Tangents first. We talked about splenunculi or accessory spleens in the season 4 episode about blood. And SciShow went more in depth on the topic in a video called 20% of humans have extra spleens. Here's why. So they were copying from us.
Terrible.
Yeah.
In the Tangents episode, we focused on the fact that people can end up with accessory spleens after being injured. But in the SciShow episode, we talk about how people can also be born with extra spleens. In fact, about like 10 to 30 people. In fact, that's more than that, actually.
Just 30.
10 to 30% of people are
Wow.
estimated to be born with an extra spleen, and around 26% of those people are estimated to have more than one extra spleen. And those accessory spleens are usually smaller, though they are able to help move blood along. It's wild. It's just it's like our bodies. There's no plan.
Yeah.
It's just working.
Do you
That's
ever
very
think
scary.
about that? Like, if you were to
all
cut
the
yourself open, like, what weird stuff would be inside? Because, like, I haven't looked in there. No one's looked in there. But
do you mean?
what
People
extra
have looked in
organs,
mine.
what missing pieces do I have?
Bouncy balls.
People never looked in you. Is that what you're saying? You specifically?
Me specific. Like,
Yeah.
I think about myself. I don't think about cutting open my friends. I think about what's inside my little body.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what, Sari, there's a couple of paths in which you find out all about what's in there. And I'd not suggest taking them. Because they never told me anything was weird in my body except for cancer.
Yeah.
They weren't like, oh, you got a bunch of spleens.
Extra cool.
But I think it's almost like way less weird that it happens than it is that can happen after injury. Like a spleen gets injured and it's like, I'm floating around in the body. Is this home? That's very weird.
I take that back because I did learn something at 30 years old about my body that has been true about it that I just didn't realize was weird. I have like bony growths on underneath my tongue, those dental tori. That they hurt when you're doing dental x-rays because they put in that little plastic thing. And I was like, damn, this must hurt for everyone so badly. And then I learned when Sylvie was looking in my mouth, as you do as a normal couple activity, that they're not normal. Like not everyone has them.
Yeah.
So that's one.
That's like the worst
pain
pain of my life is getting those X-rays done. So I must have those too.
What?
That's like torture. It's not torture for everybody.
No.
It hurts so bad.
It hurts so bad.
No, I don't. Though I can suck air out of my sinus through the top of my mouth.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
There's a little hole that connects the top of my mouth into my sinuses.
You just have a chimney?
Push it.
What?
Wow.
It doesn't, it's not like always open. It like if it's like cold out, it like, it's like all the blood goes away and then it's just like, and it makes a little like whistling noise.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's too much going on in the head.
Too much going on in the
There's
head.
many channels.
A little bit.
There's many channels up there.
All right, last one. We got car transmissions. In 1975, the number of failures in automatic car transmissions jumped to around 8 million per year, due in part to the Endangered Species Act, which prevented the car industry from relying on their previous transmission oil of choice, sperm whale oil. Is that fact from Tangents or SciShow or both? 1975.
This would have been a great fact, but it doesn't sound familiar to me at all.
It sounds familiar to me.
So I'm going to go with
but I don't know where.
SciShow.
This does sound familiar to me. I feel like I've talked about...
It would have been you who did it. This is a smart person fact for sure. If anybody...
Yeah, I found something weird at one point when I was reading an article and was like, oh, this is perfect for tangents. I'm going to say it was tangents. I'm going to trust in our past selves that we found this weird fact and surfaced
It's a good weird fact.
Do I go different or do I go? No, I'm just gonna. I think it is Tangents. SciShow. SciShow. That's the answer I want.
Really?
Locked it in.
He locked it in. The answer is, in fact, Tangents.
Oh, yes.
We talked about the bleak origins of car transmission oil in our season 2 episode about cars, not to be confused with our bonus Patreon episode featuring commentary about Cars 2.
The movie Cars.
Sperm whale oil was really important to a number of industries because it can keep its viscosity over a very wide range of temperatures and it doesn't oxidize very easily. But as sperm whale populations declined, the Endangered Species Act was passed in part to protect them, and initial attempts by the car industry to replace sperm whale oil did not go well. Eventually, though, we were able to turn to synthetic jojoba oil derivatives to take over.
What? Yeah. So we were using sperm whale oil in cars until the 70s.
That's why I think I remember it, because I think we made jokes about putting whale in your cars, and then also just like this idea that our idea of what's historical is not actually historical. Like the energy industry is so weird and complex that once you start using something, it's so hard to switch to the next thing.
It's true.
Unless everyone can agree that it's bad, and whales are so lovable and endangered that people are like, okay, we can agree that this is bad.
We should stop pouring them into our cars.
Yeah. But we can't do the same thing with like gasoline in general. Yeah. Because too many people find it convenient.
And it doesn't come from a cute little guy.
I wonder if by now, like, our transmission oil is actually better than sperm whale oil, or if we switched back, people would be like, thank goodness.
I kind of think everything about modern cars is better than 1975 cars.
Yeah, that's a good point, Stefan.
I have a late-breaking fact check on Duboki.
Whoa. Whoa.
The African crested rat did appear in both SciShow and SciShow Tangents.
Wow. Let's go.
Thank you to Nerd Criteria Wiki for the information.
But that thing does have 4 stomachs, apparently. I'm still hung up on that.
Yeah. Well, that changes the score not at all because all of you guys
Okay, it definitely does. I got a point.
It doesn't change the ratio.
It doesn't change the ratios of the scores. It doesn't change who's winning. But that means that Sam and Sari both have 3 points. Stefan has 1 because he is stupider than all of them.
Yes, yeah.
And his feet are
True fact.
And he's bad at French. Next up, we're going to take another short break. Then it will be time for our second game. Welcome back. Let's get ready for round number 2, our final epic attempt at the Gauntlet. Yeah. But Sarah doesn't get to play.
I don't get to play, so I'm probably going to lose.
If you were presenting it, Hank, you would be complaining the whole time. So this is for the best.
I'm so glad. Not because I would be sad that I wasn't playing, just because I'd be confused.
Sari gets it.
So welcome to The Gauntlet, the ultimate game of science knowledge, strategy, and treachery. We couldn't end the last episode of Tangents any other way. It was created by Sam, so thank him or blame him.
Oh.
In The Gauntlet, you and your 2 opponents will face a series of 7 questions of decreasing difficulty. I will take turns asking you the questions in order from 7 to 1. When you're asked a question, you may either answer or pass. If you choose to answer, a correct answer gets you the amount of points equal to the question's number, and an incorrect answer loses you those points. So question 7 is 7 points, 6 is 6 points, and so on. If you answer incorrectly, your opponent will have the opportunity to steal. If they answer correctly, they get the points, but if they answer incorrectly, they do not lose points. So that's all if you choose to answer. If you choose not to answer, if you pass, your opponent gets asked the next question down, which is slightly less difficult. We start the flow chart all over again. Mm-hmm. After we've gone through all 7 questions, the unanswered questions are asked again and cannot be skipped a second time. On the second pass through the questions, no points are lost and there is no stealing. So you got 1 chance to answer them. And questions and answers to later questions may contain clues to the answers of earlier ones.
Of that part's important, Stefan. That part's important.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't zone out.
Yeah.
You can't pay attention.
I always zone out around question like 4.
Can I ask a point of order?
Yeah.
When this question is stolen, does it only the next person in order who gets like 1 chance to steal the question?
Sam, you created the game. I think you both get a crack at it.
Okay. I think that makes sense. It's a living game, Sarah. It's a living document. I didn't create it. I mean, I did create it, but I don't own it.
Okay.
It's open source.
Now, hold hands and prepare to enter the Gauntlet Tangents Edition. In other words, a bunch of random facts that I haven't used from previous episodes. Will knowing that help you? Probably not, because we've done so many topics.
It might help me. I've heard a lot of your ideas.
Sam, I didn't even think about that.
Because you send them to me sometimes.
I've probably pitched you these ideas when you text me at midnight.
Okay.
Shoot. Okay, well, we'll see. Question number 7. Snails and slugs are both gastropods, but snails have an external shell, and slugs have either a reduced shell, no shell, or an internal shell, which in itself is a shock to me. But in a paper published in 2010, scientists realized that they could basically turn the freshwater snail into a freshwater slug with an internal shell by exposing it to a specific metal during development.
Oh.
What was that metal?
Oh, you want us to just say a metal? Who goes first?
Buzz?
It's me first, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sam first.
I am gonna pass.
So Sam passed, so we're going to the next question with Hank.
Okay.
Okay.
Question number 6. According to a study published in 2022, when male mice smell the pee of pregnant or lactating female mice, certain compounds cause these lads to get stressed out and feel less pain. Turns out, one of these chemicals could be technically purchased in a supermarket, and that same purchased version can cause significant pain reduction in male mice, just the same as the urine. What is the smell?
Ammonia.
That is incorrect.
Well, I mean, that seems like obvious now that I know the answer. That would be too easy, wouldn't it? And also, pee smells like ammonia all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So let me see. If you answer incorrectly, Stefan gets the opportunity to steal.
Did I just lose 6 points?
Yeah,
you did.
God, the gauntlet is not well balanced.
Yes, it is. It's a perfect game.
It really encourages passing, is what I'll say.
Yeah. It's treachery.
But I don't risk anything by guessing.
You don't risk anything. Yeah. What is the smell?
But I don't have science knowledge is the problem.
But just say one of the things you can buy at the store.
Vinegar.
That's the other thing I was going to say.
It's not vinegar.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
Something
do we
want
to give Sam a guess?
Yes. We want to give Sam a guess.
Yeah.
Something you could get at the grocery store would be hydrogen peroxide.
It's not that.
Okay. You didn't have to say it that
smells
way.
like anything either.
Maybe to a mouse it does.
Maybe to a mouse.
Oh, true.
Okay.
What other chemicals can you buy at the store?
Yeah. Well, now you have to tell us the answer.
No, we got to go through again.
Because we go second round.
Yeah, you got a second try.
Let's keep going then. Okay.
Yeah, second try.
Okay.
So question number 5.
Can't believe that the rules are not yet settled.
It's like the Constitution.
Question number 5 goes to Stefan. We've talked about a couple weird geological surveys here on Tangents, but I don't think we've talked about the time the International Joint Commission that oversees the U.S. and Canada border waters studied the erosion of Niagara Falls in 1969. Their goal was to check on the structural integrity of the American Falls portion, since the rock pile at the bottom of the waterfall was getting quite large. What dramatic feat did they do to analyze this erosion?
I mean, I know of a couple dramatic feats that happened at Niagara Falls, but I don't think that science was involved. I'm just going to pass because I don't have other guesses.
Question number 4 goes to Sam. In a study published in January 2020, researchers were conducting behavioral tests on 13 wolf puppies and found something unusually cute. What did 3 of these puppies do that made them super similar to domestic dogs?
This is killing me because you have every single one of these you have run past me before, and I just can't. I know.
I only have so many ideas, Sam, and I'm really trying to give you the cream of the crop.
What did they do that made them? I don't know. And I'm gonna pass. I don't know.
Question number 3 is for Hank.
Okay, getting easy. We should be able to do this.
Not all smells that humans experiment with are sweet, like bananas. Sometimes they're stinky, like rotten eggs, like the gas ethyl mercaptan that's added to odorless gases like petroleum, butane, and propane, so our noses can detect a leak. It turns out that ethyl mercaptan is also naturally produced by decaying animal carcasses. So with that in mind, humans have actually used an animal to help us detect leaks in natural gas pipelines. What animal was it?
I've already lost, Sari. -6 is a deep hole to dig out from.
Yeah, with Sam's +3 from the first game.
I'm gonna pass. There's too many animals.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Question number 2 for Stefan. In 2010, a Japanese computer programmer released the Ika Taco virus, which infected between 20 and 50,000 computers. It was disguised as a music file, and when downloaded and played, it infected files on your computer, deleted them, and replaced them with images of something else. What was the replacement image?
That makes me think there's some like internet culture meme. Do I want to risk 2 points that I don't even have?
Yeah, well, I'd appreciate it.
Maybe I made these too hard.
They're hard. Yeah.
You got some question clue, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I know one. I got one.
Oh.
I got one of them too. I hope.
Oh, geez. I've picked up no additional information yet.
That's the thing.
Oh, no.
That's me. I space out. I stopped listening. I'm like, these are too goddamn long.
I'm just going to say it's a picture of Rick Astley.
Oh, boy, that would be great.
Just not a picture of Rick Astley. So that's incorrect. But that means that Sam gets a chance to steal. What do you think?
A squid?
It is a squid.
Oh. My very little knowledge of the Japanese language prevails.
Yeah. So the Ika taco virus replaced files with drawings of squid, octopuses, and other sea creatures.
Oh, everybody should get that.
Find
That's fun.
any pictures. According to articles, it was like a manga style illustration of those things because Ika in Japanese means squid and taco means octopus.
Yes.
So very straightforward name.
I thought it just meant squid taco.
Question number 1 goes to Sam. Adult gardeners say shell frogs are only about 8 millimeters long, and they're one of the smallest frogs in the world. They still communicate by croaking like many frogs, but they don't have a middle ear structure with an eardrum or little bones to transfer vibrations to the inner ear. What body part do these frogs use to detect sounds?
Their butt.
That's not right.
Butt?
It's
Damn
not
it.
their butt.
Okay.
And now Hank has a chance to steal.
Their eyes.
Not their eyes, but no lost points.
No lost points, though.
And Stefan, a chance to steal.
I feel like was this on SciShow and Tangents?
This was not on Tangents, but it may have been on SciShow.
Small frog, like it's like their ribs or something, or maybe their tibia.
Can you just say bones?
Yeah, can I just say bones? I don't have a lot of points.
Let him have 1 point, Sari.
Okay, I'll give Stefan a pity point.
Yeah.
What bone is it?
It is the mouth bone, their jawbone,
Oh, okay.
Which is the bone that behind the ear?
but is not. They don't have an ear structure. So. A team of researchers in 2013 believe that these tiny frogs largely receive sounds through their mouths because their mouth bones resonate at the main frequency of their croaking calls, and the tissues between their mouths and their inner ear are less thick than other species of frogs that do have middle ears. So we think that can help transmit vibrations. Okay, so now we're looping back around. Okay, so question number 7. You got no risk, all reward here. Hank,
Yes.
Snails and slugs are both gastropods, but snails have an external shell and slugs have either a reduced shell, no shell, or an internal shell.
There's a metal.
There's a metal that turns a snail into a slug.
Yeah. There's a lot of metals, Sari. You got to tell me if this is an
Almost
alloy or
everything
an
is
element.
one.
You got to give me something.
It is an element.
Okay. I figured it was going to be an element.
It's a transition metal.
Okay.
Which makes sense,
This doesn't feel
transition
fair.
between slug. That's not why they're called that.
Let's just say, I don't know. Let's say nickel.
Where's nickel? Oh, you were so close. You were so. It was platinum.
Oh, wow. That's
Oh.
cool.
That's not that close, is it? It's in the
It's
same,
in the same,
column. Yeah.
Column.
See, and where was the freaking clue? This game is rigged.
There wasn't a clue for that one as far as
Sometimes
I know.
they're
Oh
not
my
clues.
God.
Sometimes
Yeah.
there ain't clues.
Oh, I know this one. Oh, shit, it's not my question. Okay.
No, it's not.
Is it mine?
Wait, okay.
Next question is for Stefan.
No.
Okay.
I thought it was for me. No, it's not.
That was
It's for
yours just
Stefan.
now.
I just did mine.
And he doesn't even know the answer, and I do.
Okay. According to a study published in 2022,
Sucks.
when male mice smell the pee of pregnant or lactating female mice, there's a compound in there that gets them less stressed out. That smell is also found in the supermarket. And there was a clue for this one, Stefan. What is it?
Stefan is a living clue for this one in a way, I would say, right?
That is true.
Oh, bananas?
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah. So banana oil, or more specifically amyl acetate, is found in a variety of fruits and used artificially as an odorant or flavorant, but it also serves lots of different purposes across animals, including being a communication chemical between female and male mice.
Congratulations, Stefan. A 5-year-long callback to just you.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 5 is for Sam. We've talked about weird geological surveys, but in 1969, the International Joint Commission that oversees U.S. and Canada border waters did something to study the American Falls portion of Niagara Falls. What dramatic feat did they do to analyze the erosion?
Oh, did they walk over it on a tightrope?
They did not.
If it's a barrel, I'm going to be pissed.
They dewatered or dammed up the falls.
Oh,
so they were
wow.
called the dry falls for half a year.
Half a year?
Half a year, yeah. They were just a waterless rock face that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers could putter around and drill test cores, remove unwanted vegetation. Also, like at least one dead body, which is less
Holy cow.
cool.
Wow.
But then they stabilized the rock structure behind the rushing water, and tourists could also explore the dried out riverbed.
I would not walk on that riverbed. No way.
You ain't catching me out there.
Bill, I would need a hefty payday.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What's wrong with it? I don't get it.
Because who knows if that thing could fail and suddenly it's just a torrent of water that
Oh.
drives me down and then I become one of the dead bodies at the bottom.
It was the 60s. People weren't thinking about that kind of thing back then.
Life didn't hold value.
Yeah.
Next one is for Hank. In a study published in January 2020, researchers were conducting behavioral tests on 13 wolf puppies and found something unusually cute. What did 3 of these puppies do that made them super similar to domestic dogs?
Did you give me a hint? Was there a hint that I missed?
There's not a hint for this one.
Okay. What did the dogs? What did these? Did they just wag their tails a bunch?
They did not wag their tails a bunch, unfortunately. They played fetch.
Oh, with who?
With the scientists.
That's
They were
right.
conducting dog behavior tests on 8-week-old wolf puppies, and 3 of them spontaneously played fetch with a ball that was tossed by the researcher. And
That's
3
so
out of
cute.
13 wolf puppies isn't a majority, but it does show that responding to this kind of social communication with humans isn't unique to domesticated dogs, and we may have selected for existing genetic
Sure.
and behavioral
I've
variations.
seen cats fetch. My brother-in-law's cat would they'd throw a little cat toy up the stairs. The cat would go get it and bring it back over and over and over again. It's
Yeah.
like, what the heck?
Kids do it. Children. They'll play fetch with you.
Okay, last question is for Stefan.
Oh, I know this one too. God damn it.
Not all smells that humans experiment with are sweet like bananas. There's your hint. I realized I put both hints in this question, so it was a good one, I guess. Sometimes they're stinky like rotten eggs, like the gas ethyl mercaptan that's added to odorless gases like petroleum, butane, and propane so our noses can detect a leak. But humans have actually used an animal to help us detect leaks in natural gas pipelines because ethyl mercaptan is also naturally produced by decaying animal carcasses. What animal was used to help detect gas leaks?
And so this one also had no clue.
There's no clue.
You only have one clue in the whole game, Sari.
I had 2 clues, but they were both in question 3.
What was the other clue?
It's in the answer.
Okay, so it's not frogs, and it's
No.
not squid.
No.
Yeah, I guess that's in it itself a clue. It's not mice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not squid.
No
it's
mice,
not
no
snails or
snails.
Probably
slugs.
not dogs.
Not
Dogs would be the
dogs.
obvious
Dogs or
one, so it
wolves.
can't be dogs because it's too obvious.
For some reason, I want to say possums.
That would be great. They love stinky stuff.
Can I take a guess?
Can I take a guess?
Yeah.
After Sam's guess?
Is it spiders?
It's not spiders.
Oh, I could have
Whoa.
sworn. Okay.
It's not possums, not spiders.
Interesting
Hank?
guess.
Is it vultures? Because
It
they
is vultures.
Oh. Because they smell
I
the
feel like-
stinky- yeah.
Give him the
Dead
points.
stuff.
Give him the points.
Give him the
No.
points.
Give him half
Sam,
points.
it's
half
not gonna.
points.
It's not gonna do it for me, bud.
Yeah.
You're
So
still
the
on top.
answer is turkey vultures. And it says these birds don't play fetch, but they do soar through the skies trying to sniff out rotting dead animals to eat. So they're pretty good at detecting ethyl mercaptan odor molecules and have been found flying circles around leaks in natural gas pipelines, looking for a tasty treat. This is convenient for humans who want to patch those leaks and might otherwise have trouble tracking them down. And with that, we're out of questions, and you've survived the gauntlet.
Wow.
Whoa.
I think that was our closest to actually done
Actually playing the gauntlet. Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, you're so smart. Those were the ideas you didn't use, and they're also good.
I have a whole spread. I have like hundreds of ideas. I comb through to get guessable ones, but I don't know what to do with them now because I don't.
I got some ideas. Well, would you believe that after all of that, Sari has 3 points, and honestly, considering how I played, could have won. I have -6 or -3 if Sam isn't a buzzkill. Sam has 5, and Stefan Stefan Chin
Somehow.
winning not just this episode, but every episode of SciShow Tangents.
Somehow. The chin coin is back. We're back, baby. Let's go.
You should have invested in the coin. We didn't know.
It's time for the pump and dump of the century.
You called him stupid.
Yeah.
Look who's winning now.
Look who's stupid.
But here are our actual show final winners. If we so there's no data for season 1 and season 2. I don't know why, but there isn't.
History. I don't know why.
Too far away. With a total of 52 points, 17 in season 5, 19 in season 4, 16 in season 3. Sam, that's 52. Whereas our guests have won a total of 21. I've won 2. Team Tangents has won 2. Yeah. There's been 12 total ties. But winning the most episodes of Tangents of all time is Sari Riley with 55. Just 3 more than Sam.
The true winner.
And
I would
shout
wonder
out to Sari for keeping track of all of that.
I would wonder why she
remarkable.
didn't keep track of season 1 and 2. Interesting, because I wonder if maybe you added
those so badly.
The result could be a little different, but
no, I just got too lazy. I started keeping track in season 3, and then I was like, someday I'll listen back to all of the tangents, and then with what time?
All right, let's sing again. Tangent is on. It won't continue on.
And now it is time to ask the science couch. Where we got a question here for our couch of finely honed scientific minds. Sam, what do we got?
at Ruffles and Rage on Instagram asked, for the last time, what are the coolest, most significant uses of tangents? Parenthetically, the mathematical kind. Question mark. End quote.
I'm glad that Sari did some research on this one because, gosh dang it, I guess just calculus.
Space, like space
Think
travel.
about humans that need to use calculus. What are those kind of humans?
All of the rocket science, probably.
I would think space and satellites or something would be. Would be
very important for satellites. Probably orbit is a kind of tangent. That vector of the speed that you have to have at a that's your speed vector is the tangent to the orbit.
What's like a good earthbound one though? Something with planes maybe, or
a good earthbound tangent? Any centripetal force situation.
Oh, a roller coaster.
Centrifuges got sort of probably got tangents involved in their math. But yeah, Sari, what do we got?
So I think the common phrase in the way that like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell has pervaded our culture. Sure. It's everywhere. The idea behind a tangent is that it's the instantaneous rate of change. So at a point on a curve, it's the instantaneous rate of change. But that is a little bit paradoxical because you need 2 points to calculate a rate of change.
Yeah, but that's what calculus is all about. That was the innovation.
Yeah, that's the innovation. Is the best approximation of the slope of the curve at one given point. So like a snapshot of velocity, the best approximation of velocity at a point in a curve. And so that's useful in space, like you were saying, for orbital dynamics, because when you have a satellite orbiting the Earth and you want to shoot it off into space, you need to know what its velocity is approximately at any given point so that you know how much force to use to send it off in whatever direction. On Earth, the common like physics experiment is usually a roller coaster, anything engineered that has a curve where you want to understand at any point on that curve what forces are acting on an object, like a roller coaster cart, for example. And that's a lot of like the calculus problems that people have in their textbooks is like, okay, at this point, calculate the velocity of the cart. It's also useful in technical drawings. So like looking at how you're going to join surfaces together. There are a lot of tangents lines involved in constructing objects with rounded edges because you're going to have one point where it's like where the curve is going to curve. And then I don't know if this counts really as mathematical science-y, but bringing it back to the arts, I don't know if you ever heard about this in your art classes, but like there's aesthetic uses of tangent lines or avoiding them where you like if you have a still life with like a lemon and an orange, it looks weird if you let the table edge be a tangent line to your fruit object. And so you want to like avoid that if you want to have a better sense of perspective.
Right. It's like a nice thing to have in logo design and a bad thing to have in like illustration and stuff like that. Like just depending on what you want. But yeah, just keeping track of like where invisibly like a line in one part of a design would hit another part is not something most people think about, but it might make it look nicer if that is lined up in some way.
Yeah. I mean, I'd add that like I like math on its own is just like there's lots of weird, beautiful math that math people get up to that I don't get, but I bet it's all full of tangents. And anytime there's curves and forces, like like suspension bridges probably got tangents in there because there's curves and forces.
And there are a lot of curved things. Not a lot of things in this world act in straight lines. And that is why I think tangents are so useful, because so much of engineering is trying to approximate our imperfect world into slightly more calculatable things. And a tangent line or plane or whatnot is a helpful approximation in those situations when you're trying to figure out what forces are acting on a thing and what forces will break a thing and how to send a probe to Mars.
Gotta probe that Mars. Okay. Normally, this would be the spot where we answer a bonus science couch question for our listeners on Patreon, but it is the last show.
It's the last SciShow.
It's the last show, so everybody gets the bonus science couch question. What do we got?
Susie Kita on Instagram asked, how long does it take on average to find a fact for fact off? Also creating a gauntlet?
Oh boy, I wouldn't know how long it takes to create a gauntlet.
Okay, so here's the secret of the gauntlet. It's so easy. The hardest part was coming up with the rules.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Which I honestly worked really hard on, and it is a good game, Hank. I don't care what you say. It's a great game. People are going to be playing it for years to come. But a gauntlet is nice because you don't have to have a story. You just have to have a list of facts that are guessable. And then the fun part for me, something not everybody does as well, is putting the clues in.
Okay.
So that game is...
That's some work.
That game, I mean, I probably have worked for an hour and a half on a gauntlet or something like that. Okay. A fact off. And back in the early days, producer Caitlin Hoffmeister had a rule that it shouldn't take us more than like 40 minutes or something like that. It's fucking hard. Is what I would say. Especially it just depends on the topic, really. But
you just got to dig until you find some gold.
And sometimes that took a while. I was going to say a lot of the time I could remember back in the day taking, a few hours to find the thing that was like interesting enough, and then another few hours to refine it.
Yeah.
I think the most I ever spent was 12 hours on one.
Stefan
That was on a truth or fail or truth or lie or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that one you had to create 3 separate things.
Oh, I forgot we used to do that.
That was extra hard.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot.
We really shot ourselves in the foot with that one.
There's a lot of mistakes we made, yeah. I probably have thunk on one for like 12 hours too. Not like straight up working on it for 12 hours, but definitely like
slept on it,
but eventually panic just kicks in and you're like searching every possible thing, or you can find a way to be like, well, this kind of is a bullshit like about the topic sort of. But Sari's so good at finding like often Sari would say something that wasn't even like part of what I searched for remotely.
Right.
Like the Google results would not. I don't know how you did it, but
I feel like Google has gotten worse over the course of the existence of tangents.
Google has definitely gotten worse.
I don't know what that's about, but like I'm just on Wikipedia now. I'm like this is
totally.
Let's go down these rabbit holes internal to this instead of being lied to on websites. But
yeah. How long did it take you, Sari?
So I have data.
No.
I started logging my hours.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Starting
because
in
you
season
you get paid for this. That's
Because
right.
I got paid. Yeah.
You're not on salary.
I was not on salary. So after I left Complexly, I was not on salary. So I had to track my hours.
Yeah.
And so I've logged 720 hours between halfway through season 3 and now. So estimating that is like half of Tangents, maybe like 1,400 hours overall. Which means somewhere between, and this checks out, like 4 to 10 hours per episode, depending on what I'm doing and how much research I've got to do.
Yeah.
It's a combination of like game, poem,
Right. Definition,
etymology, butt fact.
Writing a poem is
Ask
brutal.
the Science Couch.
Yeah. Weeks where I'd have poem, I was just like, fuck.
God.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Poem, I had to leave to the last hour. Otherwise, I'd overthink it.
Yeah.
I gotta just
Interesting.
do it.
It's weird. Sometimes like the poem takes me like 8 minutes, and sometimes it's like I'm just like grinding away.
Yeah.
I guess that's how creativity
That's
works.
how poetry
Yep.
is. Yeah. But there's nothing better than being so frustrated about trying to find a fact and then you find the thing and you're just like, that's it.
This is it.
This is going to blow their minds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so proud to present this to my friends.
And then I'm like, that was not very good.
Yeah. That's a weak fact.
Well, then Sam brings a better one, and that is where it really stings. Where I'm like, oh, this is the juicy one, and then
Sam's is about butts, and it's like, well,
that's it.
you know.
Or sometimes the better one was one you sent me.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Sometimes I would send you facts, and I would be like in my head, canonically, there's like Sam facts, Hank facts, Stefan facts, Sari facts.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So there are some stories that you can tell way better than I can.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I didn't choose to do it because I couldn't find the hook of the story, but the way that you tell stories is different than the way I tell stories. And I think that's like a very beautiful thing about the show too.
Right. It's the longest running creative partnership I've ever had.
Yeah.
I do think maybe the most satisfying moment was when Sari sent me a fact and then I beat her in the fact off with it.
Yeah. That
I don't
rules.
remember which one it was, but I was like, I didn't do any of this work.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Well, everyone, the Tangents Patreon is going to be closing at the end of this month, but never fear, all of our bonus episodes, crew chats, and movie commentaries will live on in perpetuity for everyone to access. Starting on April 8th, we're going to be posting a backlog of Patreon episodes to our main podcast feed and to the YouTube channel when there's bonus video content to post. The bonus episodes will come out twice a week in the same order they were originally posted to Patreon. Along with the bonus episodes, we'll also be posting some special compilations to the YouTube channel and the podcast feed for those times when you just need a giant megadose of tangents. All of our patrons, you're the best. We're so grateful for the support that you've shown for the show over the years. And a final super grateful shout out to patron Les Aker for their years of support. And if you haven't heard by now, at long last, we are also publishing an ebook of over 200 of our traditional science poems as a special memento to remember the show by. All of our parody song lyrics, horrible slant rhymes, and basically children's books will live on. The ebook is available for pre-order at complexly.store. The final version will be delivered on March 21st.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be so good. Thank you to Sarah Malik on Patreon, at Vienna I'm Tired on Twitter, and everybody else who asked your questions for this episode and for any episode of SciShow Tangents. Finally, if you want to show your love for SciShow Tangents, you can always, please, just
Tell people about us.
Thank you for joining us. I've been Hank Green.
I've been Sari Riley.
I've been Sam Schultz.
And I've been Stefan Chin.
SciShow Tangents is created by all of us and produced by Jess Stempert. Our associate producer is Eve Schmidt. Our editor is Seth Lixman. Our social media organizer is Julia Buzz Bazzaio. Our editorial assistant is Debuki Chakravarti. Our sound design is by Joseph Tuna Medish. Our executive producers are Nicole Sweeney and me, Hank Green. And we couldn't have made any of this without our patrons on Patreon. Thank you, and remember, the mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be lighted.
But one more thing. Do you miss me? Okay.
Every day, Stefan. Every single day of my life.
turquoise killifish only live a few months at most, even in captivity, which makes them a great test subject for studying aging. And in a 2017 preprint study, which means that hasn't been peer-reviewed yet, researchers basically fed poop from spry 6-week-old fish to middle-aged 9.6-week-old fish to see what would happen. And this,
just see what would happen.
I like that they're only 3 weeks different, and that's like a significant difference in their age. But this kind of microbiome transplant made the older killifish act more spry, even as they continued to age, and they lived 37% longer on average than fish that didn't eat the poop of the youth.
Oh, no.
So I guess, maybe if we just had more poop facts, maybe tangents could live forever. Poop. Or it says here, maybe that's just a load of crap.
We should have fed the podcast more youth poop.
Yes. More children's poop.